help others. You gotta love the mothers. And you gotta hug the ones who bring us joy and love. It's the middle with the moms and it's your day.
Keisha, hey.
Hey girl, hey.
Thank you so much for doing this with me. I'm so excited.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much.
We met like over a year ago, or longer, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Gosh, wow. I've known you for a while.
Time is flying.
But you were my massage therapist while I was pregnant with Chessa.
I was.
And oh my gosh, I think I went like every month and then maybe twice a month at the end. But me and you just clicked immediately, I feel like.
Yeah.
And you were kind of my therapist too.
I feel like it just comes with the territory.
Yeah.
Like you're comfortable on the table.
That's true.
Know, you're relaxed.
That's true. So you're everybody's therapist.
I guess.
But we just have really great conversation, and like I just value everything you say to me. And I come home and I, think about the advice you give me or whatever. So it's not just like me venting and then go home. Like we have a really good conversation, and I love you. You're awesome. You're amazing.
Thank you.
But yeah, so first I thought we could talk about you being a doula. Because like we kind of said earlier while we were eating, it's definitely becoming a more accepted thing, and definitely a more popular thing. And I feel like it has become really popular during COVID, really, because just everyone pregnant during that time was pretty scared. You don't know if you're gonna have a bed in the hospital, and having a doula, which is also a support system, but knows what they're doing, and can help you deliver a baby if they have to.
Right.
So yeah, I guess just maybe for those who don't really know, maybe say what a doula is or what exactly you do or what you offer.
Okay.
Yay.
So I think a lot of people first off think that, oh, you're a doula, you deliver babies.
Right.
And I'm like, no, I do not. I do not want that job. Not me personally.
Yeah. Okay.
So a doula is different than a midwife. A midwife here is going to be the one that is able to deliver a child, whereas the doula is going to be there to help assist during the birthing process and then later on helping after the birthing process. After delivery, the transition from hospital to home, which is where I come in. So I'm a postpartum doula. Okay. So there are like different levels to it. You know, there's a birthing doula. They'll be with you during the whole pregnancy, during the labor and delivery portion. And then you'll have a postpartum doula who specializes in helping with that transition period in the 4th trimester. Okay. Which is essentially, they like to say the first 3 months after, the essential 3 months after delivery. But I mean, you're postpartum right now. Years.
I still feel like
motherhood is postpartum, in general. So, for me, being a postpartum doula, I feel like it's for when I love pregnant people. Yeah. And being able to help them beyond pregnancy was really like my goal. Yeah. Being a massage therapist and wanting to specialize in, the prenatal massages. And I love that. But also to be able to help them beyond just like feeling good. You know, that's cool. That's beautiful. But to be able to help a mom transition and to let her know you're doing a beautiful job, and helping in however way she needs, and her spouse needs help during that time, to me is like the most important thing. People, I don't think they really take into consideration how vital that time is in recovery. It's everything.
Yeah, and you don't know until you've gone through it.
Right. And it's so essential and fundamental, the first couple of weeks to really establish your flow, and just it sets the tone. Definitely. For the weeks, months, years to, maybe that's
you're
dramatic.
Right.
But
right.
I feel like it
then
really
you might get pregnant again.
Yeah. I feel like it just sets the tone for, what you're about to partake into. So a lot of times if things happen early on and they're caught, they're helped and able to calm down, it's not 14 months in and you're just I still don't feel like myself.
Yeah.
Or I'm sad and like, why do I feel like this? And it's like, if you're able to have somebody set in place to really help with identifying things or issues that maybe you don't even think is an issue.
Yeah.
You may not even know that this is a thing.
Right.
You think that you're the only person experiencing this when you're not. Like literally.
You're not alone.
No. And I feel like a lot of times as mothers, new moms specifically, we think that, and I'm saying we, you know, as if I'm a mom. I'm not a mom, but you know, we just think that, you know, being a mom, you know, you grow up as a child thinking like, you know, this is something that your body was made to do.
Yeah.
You're just gonna get it.
Yep. That's what I thought.
As soon as the baby is being spit out, I'm gonna put them on my breast, and like they're gonna know exactly what to do. My body's gonna know what to do. Oh my God, like I was created to do this. It's gonna be the most amazing. And it may be just as euphoric as you think it's going to be.
Yeah.
Then again, it may not.
Yeah.
But the beauty in this work is, you know, even if it is not, to know that no matter what you're being challenged with, it's not the end all be all.
Right.
Like, even though this may be happening right this second, right? Like, this is what's happening. Just to be able to know, like, this is just a moment.
Yeah.
It's not the entire, you know, duration of this child's existence on this earth, or, you know, I'm not going through this forever. It's like knowing that, you know, we may be having a little hiccup this second, and that's okay.
Yeah, it is okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So I love being able to, like, my biggest thing when I first am introduced to a family is like, how do you see your recovery time, you know, coming? Or what are your expectations for me coming in to help you?
Right.
Some people look at things differently, and it's like, if I know coming into a situation what your expectations are for me to help you, maybe you have concerns like, oh, I've had a previous, you know, pregnancy before, and afterwards it didn't go so well. Right. Afterwards, my recovery was awful. So I knew for the second baby, I knew that I wanted to have help. Yeah. And a lot of times it is that.
Yeah.
But to know that, it's like, oh my God, yes, thank you. For me, it gives me a lot of direction.
Of course, yeah.
Help me help you.
Yes.
So if I know coming in, like, this was your concern.
Right.
This is something that you struggled with previously, and we want to do something to help prevent things from reoccurring in the same fashion. It's like, okay, so just certain things that I can look for.
Yes. Heck yes.
And
you're not
to
a
help.
psychic.
Right. And like on top of, like, a lot of people just they're not as vocal, or they don't know how to articulate how they're really feeling. It's just, you know, I'm new mom, you know, I'm tired. Mm-hmm. I'm married or not married, or have a spouse, don't have a spouse, and whatever, like, you know what it is. Yeah. Keisha. And I'm like, but I don't.
Yeah. You're not here every day. You don't know everything going on.
And I may be there every day, but I don't know the inner workings of your mind.
Right.
Like, for like the specific things, you know, just like certain things, everybody experiences things differently. Yeah. Motherhood looks the same, but it's very different for everybody.
Oh gosh, yeah. Not every kid's different.
Right. Not even like the same mother, like the same mother with a different child. Yeah. Like, you'd be like, child, you do not act like your brother. Yeah. Or you do not act like your sister. Where does this come
opposite, from? Yeah.
Listen, and you sometimes be looking at that like, I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. And you do. It's just, motherhood is learning.
And you might feel like you need, like, you're that support, and you might feel like you need a guide, or you can. And your voice is extremely calming. I'm like melting in my chair right now. Oh. But you're just, I don't know, you can help guide that mom or me in like the direction of giving us the advice we need. And you're not like, you need to do this. Like you have to do this right now. Like, you kind of like give options or like suggestions. You know what I mean? Like, you're not putting pressure, no judgment.
That's not my job to do that. For one, you hiring me is you accepting the fact that what I have is valuable to you. Right. Your advice is valuable. Right. Your experience is valuable. I ain't trying to like come in and be like, this is what you need to do. It has to be breast is best.
Right,
like,
right.
You know, whether it's from the breast, whether it's from a bottle, whether it's formula, whatever, supplemented, like, you know, donor. It's like at the end of the day, the baby is eating.
Yeah.
The baby is growing.
Yeah.
And the baby is healthy.
Right.
That's what we want.
Exactly.
We want a healthy baby and a healthy mama and a healthy dad.
Of course, yeah.
We want a healthy family is what we're looking
Absolutely.
for. So like, I think a lot of times we do put a lot of stress on ourselves and we don't realize how that could be executed through our parenting or like through our experiences in life. So like coming in with help a lot of times just allows you to like see things in a different pair of contact lenses.
Absolutely.
Rather, you know, it's just
Absolutely.
like, okay, well, I thought that I was experiencing this all by myself.
Right.
I thought that I was the only one that felt like this. And it's like, no, you're not.
Right.
And it's okay to feel like it's okay.
Yeah.
A lot of times people want permission to feel like it's okay and to feel like
validated in your feelings.
Like it's okay.
Yeah.
It is okay. And I know it feels like we at a 10 right now, but I promise you it could very well just be a 3 and you just are just so overwhelmed that like it just becomes amplified.
Not to
your
mention
mind.
hormones.
Like I just want to hear you. I want you to pour. A lot of time my sessions initially with my clients when I first come to their homes and whoever is attracted to like something that I bring that person is just, you know, we're supposed to be working together, you know? So
my gosh, yes.
I don't force relationships in the beginning. It's like, let's have an interview. Let's kind of fill each other out. Let's see
if we click.
Yeah.
That's how it is for me with weddings. I make every bride and groom FaceTime me. I mean, the groom doesn't have to be there. Yeah. But I want me and the bride to, you know, vibe well together. And I want them to like, you know, my personality because I'm going to be with them on the biggest day of their life. Listen. And same for you.
Yeah. So to me, that's important.
Yeah.
To establish a relationship ahead of time, for me, is important. Yeah. Like, I'm coming into your home. Yeah. I'm going to be around you for the most vulnerable period of time of your life. Like, I'm going to see you probably at your worst on some days. And it's like, if you're not comfortable showing me raw, how am I truly supposed to show up for you in a way that you truly may need me to? Right. If I'm not able to see, not to say I need to see you like all types of ugly or like how you, you know, I don't know what makeup today. I'm not cute. Like, girl, no, that's fine. But like to be able to be vulnerable with someone and just to like trust me, like to trust me, to be able to help you, trust me enough to be able to supply you with information or experience or expertise in whatever way. Like you need to have some sort of relationship with that person for trust. Yeah. And so to come in. Yes, we have an interview first. We fill each other out, and it's like, oh my God, perfect fit, girl. Yes, we're hiring you. We signing paperwork. You know, So once we get to work, a lot of times me coming in, I'm checking up on you initially, like, how you feeling?
So you go like to their house.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm in person, and during COVID, it was a little. It looked different than beforehand, just because it's like. Here we are, not really knowing what this virus is. Yeah, terrifying. And like, are you safe? Are you not?
Yeah.
Masks and things can be, all of that, the precautions can be dealt with.
Absolutely.
But initially it's just kind of like, how are you feeling today?
Yeah.
What did we do today?
Yeah.
Did you eat? Did you drink?
Yeah.
Have you showered?
Yeah.
Like little things that you really don't really consider or really think about that matter.
Yeah.
A lot of times when you're a new mom, you
don't even get me started.
Girl, the day is done in your mind. It's 7 p.m. You're like, oh, I've eaten a cracker today. Yeah. Or I have not had 5 minutes to go pee.
Yeah.
I have not gotten out of bed today to even change my, pajamas.
No.
And here I am looking at you, looking at me.
Yeah.
And so a lot of those conversations initially is like, how are you feeling?
Yeah.
A lot of times me just saying, how are you feeling? it's like, I mean, I feel like the question sometimes can be very vague. As a doula, I feel like I try to be a little specific with certain things. So like, I feel like it's very generic. How are you doing? Fine. Yeah. Can't really go with that. So like a lot of times it's like, what color are we feeling today? Yeah. Yellow. Okay, I see you, girl. That's a bright color.
My favorite color.
Oh, yes. Just kidding. Yes. You know, certain days if you're not feeling so vibrant, you know, to know that however you feel it, I got you. Yeah. We can talk about it. A lot of our sessions start initially, and I talk as if I think I had a lot more of these moments with my clients that had overnight care. We can definitely talk about that, but with her, with one client specifically, it was like, you know, all my clients are like my heart. I'd be like, girl,
you really get invested with people.
I honestly do. Like,
I know you do.
Oh my God, I'd be like, girl, what's wrong? What you need? A lot of times it's like my clients just kind of like fall in my spirit even before I get there, and I'm like, why am I thinking about her like this? So when I get there, I'm like, or like I may check up on them, you know, throughout the day, but when I get there, I'm like, you was really on my mind today. What was going on? Yeah, like what was happening? Yeah, and they be like, oh well, you know, this happened, and I was very upset because, you know, I only pumped 2 ounces today. And yesterday was 7, today is 2, and now I'm stressed out because, you know, my output isn't as much as it was. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, did you drink plenty of water? Did you stay hydrated? Did you eat today? Like, there's so many factors that can go involved, you know, with that. Right. So it's like, you know, well, did you do anything differently today than what, you know, you could have done other days? Yeah. And, you know, just narrowing certain things down to be like, you know, in a broader spectrum of like, how are you feeling truly? Like, how are you doing today? Yeah. Like, what were the events today? For me, doula work is more than just making sure that, you know, your recovery physically is going okay. Yeah. It has everything to do with setting the foundation to making sure mentally you're okay, which for me is probably one of the top 3 things. Huge. Like, mental is everything.
It is. It affects you physically.
Long story short, a doula is in more ways just really there to be that person to support a new mom or, you know, a mother of 7. Yeah, it really doesn't matter of whatever number.
I feel like you or a doula or postpartum doula is like a guide through postpartum and a support system. And I mean, I guess let me go into my postpartum journey. So, you know, Wade and I, we were not married, very much in love. But, you know, we got pregnant, and when, you know, we found out we were pregnant, like, you know, I was a little scared, but I was like, oh, I got this. People do this all the time. You know, it's fine. I had a few moments where I'd hide in the closet and cry and freak out. Like, I'm literally having a baby come out of me. And then I have to take care of it. Right. But I've always dreamed of being a mom, and I was just like, I can do this. It's fine. Right. And, you know, I was like, I'm 100% breastfeeding. Like, I'm going to pop that baby on my boob. It's fine. Like, whatever. I honestly had no idea. You know, I read some baby books, but I just honestly had no idea how hard it was because, I mean, how many moms are there out there? You know what I mean? Right. Like, there's human population. Right. So, anyway, let's fast forward. Had a great delivery great pregnancy with Chessa, my first, who's 2. But, and a great delivery. I mean, incredible. But postpartum, well, first I'll say she was not put on my breasts like right away. Then last nurse I got wasn't that great, wasn't very nice. Yeah. But she just didn't feel very, you know, didn't have any urgency with it or anything. And I had not read books about breastfeeding. I did not have a lactation consultant. I had no idea. I literally just thought you pop your boob in the baby's mouth and that's it. Yeah. And so that was a big struggle for me. So, you know, I'm coming home. I already have cracked nipples, TMI, but that's what we're talking about. Already, I mean, bleeding.
Days after.
Oh, like, yeah, the next day. I was and it's because I, got damaged immediately. Like her lips were not wrapped around the areola. It was probably just on my nipple.
Right.
And, she might have had a tongue tie too or something that we missed or the doctor missed or whatever, but we just did not get a good latch and I've had no idea, Yeah. So severe pain already. And then all these hormones, after you have a baby, so many hormones, the milk coming in.
Right.
And I'm someone when my milk comes in, like I know, like I feel it. It's like, it's crazy.
Right.
But I also get this feeling, it's the weirdest feeling. It's like, I don't really know how to describe it, but it's kind of like a homesick feeling. I'm like, ooh, and like I get kind of like this homesick feeling in my stomach, and then I also kind of feel guilty, and so I guess mom guilt. It's really weird. So having those feelings, like while I'm failing, I feel like I'm failing at breastfeeding or failing my baby, not good on my mental state, and so struggle with that. Got mastitis immediately. And the way I found out about that, like I wasn't getting all the milk out because, I was like double D's, so much milk. Yeah. And, but she wasn't drinking that much or I wasn't pumping enough out. I just had no idea what to do. Yeah. And we took her to like her first doctor's appointment and I didn't pump for hours and my boobs are literally hard as a rock. And I'm in the car and I start shaking. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sick. My boobs are killing me. I go home. I like look in the mirror. My boobs were like red and like purple veins were on the side. Yeah. And then I got a fever, like a 103 or something. Oh, and so Wade like texted my OB, who's like my friend. So I text her, which is nice. But I was shaking. I was freezing, but like my fever was so high. It was so bad. And so I like told myself, I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like I cannot do this. But then I'm like, okay, I'm feeling guilty. Like I have to do this. So I kept going. I kept putting her on my damaged boobs. I should have got a lactation consultant. Honestly, I knew you were one. I don't even remember if I had texted you then, but I like felt like I had so much mom guilt. Like I was embarrassed. I don't know. I just like wanted it to work. I just didn't want any outsiders. I don't know. I guess I felt judged too. Like this is weird. I didn't feel judged for not breastfeeding. I felt more judged for breastfeeding and like trying to fight through it. Cause it kind of hurts in the beginning. Some people, it's different for everybody, but if you want it to work, you kind of do have to like keep going and keep fighting through it. And so, but I felt judged for doing that. Because it was hard and it was taking a toll on me, but so I just like felt so much judgment from people. So anyway, I didn't feel support from those people that I felt like I should have. And of course, Wade, he's a guy, he has no idea. Right. So he's supporting me, just letting me do whatever I want. You know what I mean? Yeah. So he definitely did with that. But anyway, it was just so hard and I had no idea what postpartum depression was. I think I probably heard about it and I was like, I'm not getting that. I'm fine. Oh, I got it. It was like a punch in the face. Severely depressed. And I'm not a depressed person, so I did not handle that well. I'm like, what is wrong with me? Right. And it took me a while or a minute to figure it out. I gave up. I don't want to say I gave up, but I stopped breastfeeding or stopped pumping like probably like 3 months later or so. And it was like immediately, like I just kind of like felt like the hormones were kind of leveling out. I felt so much better. I still was depressed, like postpartum depression. So I tried some medication. Of course, it didn't work for me. So stopped it and then just went like, okay, I'm going to try everything I can naturally, working out, like taking time for myself. But honestly, I just stayed in this depressed mode and I was not taking care of myself. I lost so much weight. Like I was so skinny and like way skinnier than I was before pregnancy. And I was just, I don't know. I just thought I didn't take care of myself. Like you were saying, like, did you eat today? Did you drink water? I would not. I would just do whatever I can for her. Yeah. And I wasn't sleeping. Like I just was not taking care of myself. And every new mom or old mom, like whatever mom needs to seriously have someone like take care of yourself. And I'm like kind of stubborn. like if Wade would be like, you need to go eat, like blah, 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 I'd be like, I'm fine, you know. But if you were here telling me that, I'd be like, okay. Because you know what I mean? Yeah. And like, you're not like, I'm not gonna be like, no, Keisha, because I hired you to help me. You know what I mean? But, and you're like on the outside, like you're unbiased about whatever's going on and you just want me to take care of myself. So I think that if I had you or a doula helping me and being that support system or that guide through postpartum, it would have made a huge difference. But then, boom, I got pregnant right away. Right. Like, at the guest chest, it was 8 months. And so it was funny. I had the postpartum depression lasted that whole time. And then when I got pregnant, it was weird. It was like it all went away and I finally felt normal again. I don't know if it was like my hormones. I mean, obviously my hormones are like, woo, 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 like going crazy. But I felt normal again. And I was like, oh, I feel great again. And then I'm like, I kind of feel weird. So I took a pregnancy test. I'm like, oh, I'm pregnant again. Whoops. But anyway, and then this time, you know, me and Wade would talk about, you know, if I get postpartum depression again, and I'm like, there's no way, like, I'm not going to let it happen. Like, I'm not going to get it. I feel great now, you know. 20 times worse. 20 times worse. Yeah. I would say maybe the depression was just lingering from the first time or just had never gone away, but anxiety creeped in. I have never experienced anxiety in my life. Like I've felt stressed before or something. But I mean, anxiety is insane. It's just like, I would feel like I'm on fire. Like I'm just like boiling over. And it was just, I don't know. I definitely still have it. Postpartum anxiety, I guess, unless it's, I mean, he's about to be 11 months now. So I don't know if it's just turned into regular anxiety. I don't know. But anyway, so then that creeped in and I'm like, oh my gosh. But I'm like, I just want to focus on breastfeeding now. Like I want this to be successful. And I will say definitely was, you know, I'd talked to you a lot about, because you're a lactation consultant too. I talked to you a lot about breastfeeding and you gave me a lot of really good advice. And I did a lot of research, took some online classes on it. So I knew a lot more about it. And with Raylan, oh my gosh, it was really successful. Yeah. Right when he came out, right when they gave him to me, pretty much, I literally put him on my boob, which I think is a game changer.
Skin to skin is everything.
Yeah.
And I feel like we see it a lot more, well, now than we did before. You know, they would take the baby away or for whatever reason, you know, for whatever's going on. Maybe the baby needs oxygen or, you know, whatever. But that first initial contact is like, you know, is everything. Yeah. And a lot of times, you know, whether the mom is highly medicated or if something is going wrong with baby and that prevents that from happening, sometimes it can affect the lactation. Right. You know, the letdown and just, the, you know, the natural hormones to be released. I mean, when a baby cries, your body responds.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's just like just having the baby on you, baby's going to start bobbing. They're going to start finding that color difference of that skin, and they're going to realize, like, oh, okay, this is where I need to go here. Yeah. So, like, to not have that sometimes, it's like, it could cause, you know, in the first couple of days, you know, a little, like, but, you know, normally it doesn't, like, have a lasting, you know, effect on, you know, the whole process. But it breaks my heart that you had such a bad time.
I know. But, you know, it's, like, I'm not saying like I was like miserable and depressed and I don't love my babies. Like, no. I mean, I loved them and seriously loved having them. I love newborns. I love it, even though it's crazy and it's hard and you don't sleep. But just like I would set aside, I guess, my personal mental anxiety, depression problems and just deal with them. Yeah. And once again, not really take care of myself. Yeah. And like, they were doing great, but me, like, once they would go to sleep or something, then I would be like, I feel like all of it would just come and hit me at once, and I'm like crying or just like, oh my God, like, I felt so alone, even though I was not alone, but I felt so alone. And you like, you know, you look at Instagram and everybody looks like they have this perfect life.
I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah.
I think being a doula is like trying to reprogram sometimes. Yeah. The mind, especially with like our generation, our age group. Yeah. Maybe not so much with like the older crowds, but like, you know, because everybody's still having babies at whatever age. So like, I feel like it's, you know, it's our generation and like kind of younger, like, oh my God, did you see Sarah over there? She popped the baby out and 3 days later her stomach was flat.
Yeah.
You know, she looks good. Yeah. She looks like she could be an Instagram model. And it's like having all of these unrealistic expectations and just thinking and just assuming that like, oh, I'm surely going to be on that. Like I put cocoa butter on my body this entire experience and I bet
I'm not going to get stretch marks. Yeah.
Not one thing is going to show up on my body. And it's like, child, the first time.
It's called genetics too.
I mean, and it's like, sometimes just certain things just can't be prevented.
Yeah.
And I like to tell my clients coming in, it's like, girl, I know you want to look good.
Yeah.
Okay. We know. And you look good. Listen, you look good, girl. Yeah. But that ain't really important right now.
No.
And I know you want that to be okay, but to be comfortable with saying like, okay, listen, it's okay that things do not look and have not fallen the way that it needs to fall.
Yeah.
2 weeks after you've had that baby, like it's okay.
Absolutely.
It's okay. And just be able to like, trying to be able to like reprogram our thinking to being like, okay, I'm supposed to be back at work in 4 weeks. Yeah. It's like, girl, no. Like that, I feel like that more than anything. Like those are one of my top pet peeves of being like a doula. It's like trying to reshape what that looks like of postpartum because people just expect and really think that it's supposed to be a certain way or it's supposed to look a certain way or I'm supposed to be looking like this. And if I don't, I'm just not pretty or, you know, I need to be ready to go back and work, you know, go back to work in 3 days or 3 weeks. I mean, not 3 days, but like some people do.
I went back 5 days later. I know. Or it was 7, but still not good.
But still, it was not enough time.
No, I think that every new mom deserves literally a year to like take care of herself. I'm serious,
girl,
and take care of that baby.
It's other countries that like, I know. Girl, you gonna get paid for being home on that maternity leave, and not just you, the daddy as well.
I know. I actually have a guy friend. He had a 4-month paternity leave paid.
That's so beautiful.
I'm like, bro. That's amazing.
Was this in the United States?
Yes.
Amen.
Yes.
Listen, maybe I need to move to that state. I don't know. No, but
it was here. Stop. I don't know what he does, but yeah, it was here. Ooh. I think it just depends on maybe the owners or something. And then obviously he worked for like, I'm self-employed, so I can't like pay myself to not work.
Correct.
But one thing I do want to touch on, like the Instagram thing, I'm pretty good at like not looking at someone's life and being like, oh my God, like I want my life to look like that. Cause I freaking love my life. Like, even though I have been through a lot of hard stuff, like while I was going through postpartum, like I had a lot of death going on, lost a lot of people. Yeah. My mom had breast cancer. Like I had a lot of things hitting me, and I'm not like super like completely open, like saying what I do every second of every day or everything that's going on in my life on Instagram. Yeah. So, and then like, you know, I went back to work 7 days later. I literally had stitches on my vag and I was like bleeding and pumping. And this was after Chessa, and I went back way too soon and I put way too much pressure on myself. And I didn't stop for months. Like I did not take a break. And that was a mistake. And then I went boom right into a pregnancy. And this time I was like, all right, I'm going to give myself 4 weeks. Still not enough. No. Still not enough. Now I'm proud of myself. I'm doing less. I'm probably going to do like 30 a year instead of like 40 plus. But anyway, I feel
like you need a lot of times, like we were talking about earlier. Yeah. A lot of times you learn by experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in experience and by, you know, just being like, okay, well, that didn't work the first time. Let's try to make some adjustments. And a lot of times that's how I come into play. Yeah. You know, as a doula.
Absolutely.
It's like, so this happened the first time. I don't want it to. So please come in and help me.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's just like, you know, you just have to realize that having the expectation that it's going to go a certain way. Yeah. It's like you thinking like, and you know, having a birthing plan is beautiful. Yeah. You know, we love to prepare, but also to be open.
Yeah.
Because plans may not always go as planned.
Right.
You know, and it's like, it's okay if to get to A, to get to C from A, you got to kind of make a loop instead of a straight line. Like it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. It doesn't have to be, it does not have to be completely linear.
Yeah.
Like it can look however it needs to look for you. And that's all right.
Yeah.
That is okay, girl. I just feel like we just, a lot of times we put so much pressure on ourselves. Like we're in a society where snapbacks, being snatched is a real thing. And it's like a real desire. Like, oh, I look good, or, I didn't lose my figure, or I was able to maintain whatever throughout my pregnancy and created this beautiful being and nothing has happened. And it's like, baby, good for you.
Yeah.
And beautiful. Yeah. If it really went that seamless. But for other people to look at your experience and to think it's going to be the exception, or they think it's going to be the rule, not the exception. Yeah. It's like, that one experience doesn't qualify to be, to be that one, the portion for the entire, like it just does not.
No. And let me say this. So I love being pregnant. I really do. Like I want to have like 5 million more kids. Oh. Wade's like, we're done. But I mean, hopefully we'll at least have another one in a couple years. I need to give my body a break, obviously. But I love being pregnant, and I'm very happy with how I look being pregnant. And a lot of it has to do with genetics, of course, and then me continuously moving and working, and But my postpartum journey, like I was one of those that went right back to flat stomach pretty much right after. But I got to tell you, while everyone's like, oh my God, you look amazing, I wish I looked like that. Like, what do you do? I'm like, I'm depressed. Right, I'm stressed. Right. I'm not eating. I'm not taking care of myself. I'm not doing well at all, actually. But how am I going to say that to people? Like I had, I'd have a wedding like a month later or something, and a bride would be like, okay, wait, why do you look, oh my God, I'm so jealous. And I can't be like, I'm really stressed and depressed. And you know what I mean? So I'm like, I just work out and eat healthy. No, I'm like, you have to like look at everyone as if they're just going through their own thing. Don't honestly, be jealous. Honestly. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't put pressure on yourself.
Right. And that can correlate with just life in general. It's like, you have no idea what a person is going through in that period of time in their life. They may look like they have it together. Yeah. And it very well could just be an outer appearance type of thing. It's like you have no idea the struggles that people go through. You have no idea their mindset or what they had to fight to get to the point that they are here right now. Exactly. And it's like you look at the end product and have no idea what the journey along the way was. Yeah. And it's like to have that expectation like, oh, well, Susie did fine. She looks great. Yeah. You don't know Susie go home every night and be crying.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like you have to get to a point where you can no longer, and I think that's just the one thing that people hate about social media is because it's a perception. You perceive that things are one way and it's completely not. Yeah. It's going to look glossy and beautiful. And you have no idea after they took that picture, they was fussing. Exactly. Or like, it's like, you have no idea.
You need to be, some people are not okay with being vulnerable on Instagram. And so I think you need to think about that too, because sometimes like people are like, oh, they have a bad marriage. Like they were just in a fight yesterday. Like they heard about it or something, or they're really separated, but then they post like a family picture. Don't judge them on that. Like think like maybe they're just not comfortable with being vulnerable. Like some people are not okay with being vulnerable. You know what I mean? So you have to like, just don't think about that. Just be like, that is a great picture and like it or something. Just, you know.
I think people admire being relatable.
Relatable, absolutely.
I feel like when you're relatable, you're being honest. Yeah. And like motherhood isn't always sprinkles. No.
It's
life
so hard. It's
isn't
so hard.
Always, lilies. Yeah. And to be able to shed light on issues, to be able to shed light on things that you experience, it truly does help the next person coming. And I truly believe that a lot of times in life, in general, it's like the things that you go through literally aren't the things that you go through. They're things that you're challenged with because there's someone along the way that's going to look at you, to look at your experience and say, they did it, so I know that I can too.
Absolutely.
And I feel like sometimes I really have to take that into consideration and be like, you know what? I have no idea why I am experiencing what I'm going through, but I truly believe if I can get through it and to like go through it, because it's so essential to go through something, to like literally go through it.
Yeah.
And like make sure that along the way and afterwards that you get the help that you need to like in a healthy way to get past things. It's like knowing that what you went through is not going to be the only thing that comes out of this. Like me going through this is going to be the only thing. Like, no, it's never that.
Right.
Someone, whether it's a friend, whether it's a complete stranger, whether it's a follower that you literally never met before, is going to come back, and because of your relatability and your vulnerable, post or situation, you were able to shed light on something that would have been kept quiet.
Oh, 100%. That is exactly why I wanted to do this, because every time I throw a touch of vulnerability on an Instagram post, I'm getting messages that like people are like, thank you for saying that, because I feel like I'm crazy, or I feel like I'm alone. So I feel like I wanted to do this because I wanted future moms to be able to listen to this and kind of not be scared, but know that, whenever you are in postpartum or whenever you are having these feelings, that it's normal.
Yes.
It's okay. Don't be ashamed or embarrassed or anything. Like, other people are going through this. Right. And it's okay if other people don't want to, be vulnerable. But I feel like with, this podcast and having people like you come on, like, other people can relate to this. And then if they're feeling what I was feeling during my postpartum journeys, they can be like, oh, I need Keisha. I need a doula. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that is huge. Yeah. Absolutely.
I think the most important thing is, at the end of the day, whether, maybe you aren't, financially able to like hire a doula, which there are ways to like prepare for that. But in the event that you cannot, it's like making sure that you have a system of people, like a tribe. Support system. I mean, it's like having a support system, whether it's specific birth workers or not. It's like, you may not have to have a midwife and the whole truck of people behind that, but to have solid people in your life to like recognize, to see that there's a need, to know the things to look for, or just to know that you're not okay. Like, you didn't sound like yourself. Like, I feel like I have this special power to read tones and text messages. Yeah,
every time I would walk into an appointment with you for a massage, you're like, how are you? And immediately I'm like, I'm not okay. Or I'm like, I'm great. Immediately.
It's like a tone that people have, and that's like, I hear it even through like something that's not audible. It's like I can like read it and be like, oh, you didn't sound like yourself.
You're so like intuitive and spiritual.
That's what it is. I feel like I'm very in tune with like, and that's just me as a person. I just, especially if I'm around you, whether that's like being a client of mine, like a doula client or, massage client or whatever, and I have a relationship with you, it's like I become so in tune with like my people. Yeah. That it's like, even now I have clients that just like,
I'm listening, keep going,
that just hit me. And I never forget, I think it was like a couple months ago, and one of my clients I was working with, or maybe I had just finished our contract with her. So, technically we were done working with each other. Right. But she was so like, in when she fell in my spirit, it was like, midnight. And I'm like, I am not about to text her. Aww. At this time of night. I don't want to wake her up. I don't know what, but immediately when I woke up like around 6 or 7, I was like, girl, you've been on my mind all night. Aww. What's wrong? Yeah. And she was like, I wanted to call you last night because I was having such a bad night. And I was like, what's wrong? And she was like, second. I have a relationship with God, and I feel like he just be dropping people in my spirit. And I'd be like, I don't know what I'm thinking about you, but you've been on my mind, and I hope you're doing all right. Yes. And a lot of times it's just like an open door for them to be like, girl, I'm not okay. Yeah. And I need to talk. Yeah. And are you available? And I'm like, yes. You're in the right profession. Listen, when I first moved to Memphis, it was, I did have a dream to become a doula. I wanted to get certified in prenatal massages, and I wanted to like I said, work beyond pregnancy, work, after delivery with moms. And like, I didn't know 6 years ago that this was going to turn out the way that it did. Like, I truly did find something, well, rather it found me, like my truest passion. Like, I so love deeply. And I just have I have a heart for not just people, for like moms, women, and just like in general, like moms and babies are my people, and I don't know what else to say, but you know, and I just feel like, oh my God, like in whatever way that I can help. And that's what makes my job for me just so enjoyable, because it does look different for every family. It's not just like this really cookie cutter, like I only do this. I only go down the list of things on my website and be like, this is all I do. Like, no, it's more than that. And however way you and your partner, or you or your partner, however you feel like that transition period for your recovery needs to go, how it needs to look for you, your expectations of what you would like it to look like. It's like, in whatever way that is, I want to be that for you. Yeah. And what I do for you, I may not have to do for somebody else, but just knowing that that person is there to support you and to be open enough to be able to help you in that way, specifically to cater to you and every your recovery. Different. And is.
Yeah, because I know some people who I film births too and photograph them, and I haven't got to do that lately because of COVID, but it's my favorite thing to film.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And actually, the first one I ever filmed was one of my friends, and the girl, or the OB, is my OB now. And I told you, it's my mom's best friend's daughter, but it was a pretty traumatic experience. I hope to get her on here to maybe talk about it one day, but she thought that I was never going to have kids after that, but it like made me want to be a mom. I was like, yes, I absolutely love doing that. But I know some people that honestly, like, I wouldn't say have it easy, but they don't go through any kind of postpartum depression or anxiety. They just are like, boom, and then they go back to work, baby goes to daycare, they're good. And that's okay. Like, that's awesome.
It is.
It's awesome, but it's also okay for it to be hard.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean?
It's okay for it not to look like the next person.
Yeah, because sometimes I'll be like, oh my God, I feel so guilty for like saying like this is so hard or something, because I freaking love my kids more than anything. Oh my God, like I could cry. I love them so much. But I'm not saying like towards anything negative towards them. Absolutely, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I think it's important for people to have you or whoever to tell them that this is a hard journey, but you are not alone. Yeah. And this is what we can do to get you through this, or, you know, I don't know, just get you in the right mental space.
But yeah,
you know what I mean?
feel like having a doula a lot of times give people the language that they need to be able to say, this is happening right now, but it may not always. And yes, it looks different than what I thought. Yeah. Yes, it went completely left to my plan that I had written down and prepared for the last 9 months. I just knew it was going to be boom, 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 boom. It was going to be a vaginal birth. It was going to be unmedicated. Mm-hmm. It was going to be a water birth. Yeah. And it ended up being an emergency cesarean.
Yeah, or whatever.
Or, you know, whatever. It was just going to be completely opposite of what you had planned. And a lot of times, because we plan for the expected, we get a little jolted when the unexpected does come. Right. But to be able to have somebody be like, listen,
absolutely,
I know that our plan that you have written down, baby, was not what happened. Yeah. But we gonna get through this and it's gonna be okay. Yeah.
So everybody needs to have that mindset.
Yeah, like just having the language to be like, it's okay, you're feeling this way. Let's work on navigating through this. Because you're gonna get through it. How you get through is going to really determine, you know, how you move forward
Absolutely.
With this.
And how long it lasts.
Yeah. It's like, do you really want to be going through something go through something not in the best way, and then you're left dealing with the residue of it for years? Yeah. It's like, if you don't have to, why? Yeah. You know, just listen. Having help a lot of times is an investment. Yeah. It may not look like, oh my God, that is expensive. I mean, it's expensive. So really? It can. I mean, it's a little bit more for me. You know, it could be for some. It could be different for other people. But for me, overnight care is expensive.
Well, I can imagine. Does that mean you stay there?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I did my first overnight family. Baby, listen. I wanted to try it. I was like, I want to see if I can do this. I want to see if I would be able to offer this service to other people. So I tried it. a couple months ago, and it went well. It was a hard adjustment for me just because, baby, I love sleep. And my body starts to low-key, not shut down, but kind of like start flicking off lights at a certain time of the evening. I'd be like, okay, it's dark.
Yeah.
It's late.
Oh, yeah. I know what that's like.
That means it's time to go to bed.
Yeah.
So, and at the time, it was a lot going on in my life at the time. But I would get off work at like 5. I would get some sleep. And then I would be at their house at midnight. And I did.
Whoa.
Girl. I
You're
worked
incredible.
midnight to 6. So I did a 6-hour shift. And during that shift, I would take baby.
Okay.
And she was a breastfed baby.
Okay.
So anytime she had an inkling that she was hungry, I would go take her to mom's to feed.
So you were like letting mom sleep or what?
So that, right.
Have her me time?
If you know, even if it's your first, second, however many time around mom, if you know that you may struggle with certain things, if you know yourself,
yeah,
you just know that I'm not the best with pain, or I'm not the best with, stress levels.
Absolutely.
To a certain extent. Having that person to come really does a lot.
Yeah.
To be able to help her during that time was just a beautiful experience. And I learned so much about myself and just about the whole process. So I would take baby so that, mom could sleep. And sometimes daddy would be there. But, being new parents, they both wasn't getting really any sleep when he was home. And so for me to be able to allow them, even if it was like, essentially every 2-3 hours, she was like waking up to feed.
Yeah.
And initially she was having I think she was having struggles with like her supply.
Okay.
And when it comes down to supply, your body responds in a way that it's like, if it's being used, it's going to replenish.
Right.
So if your body's feeling like it's not being used, it's going to dry up.
Absolutely.
So the whole thing is supply and demand. If there's no demand, why do I need a supply?
I did not know that in the beginning.
And a lot of times people don't. Again, we assume we're a woman, that we just gonna know exactly what needs to be done.
Yeah.
And a lot of times having a little bit of guidance does help.
Oh gosh, yes.
And it makes a huge difference.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Even the smallest bit of advice sometimes just makes a world of difference to someone that's like, okay, I had no idea that I was even thinking about that, or knowing that sometimes it could be things that you're eating or drinking that could reflect in, the amount that is or is not coming. And there are things
and the baby's tummy. I was like eating so much broccoli for some reason with Chessa and her poor tummy and reflux. And they were like, are you eating a lot of like stuff like broccoli? I was like, oh, a lot of broccoli. It's really healthy. They're like, stop eating the broccoli.
Right.
I was like, oh, and it made a huge difference.
Right. And a lot of times the things that we do eat, it does have to get adjusted because, I mean, in the first month, 2 months, baby cannot have a lot of things. If you're breastfeeding, it's like spicy food. Baby, one night she had spicy food and she was just like, oh, it's the first time I was able to eat something spicy because I couldn't, while I was pregnant. And that night, like, baby just was, rumbling in her tummy. And I was like, oh, boo-boo is not okay. No. She was not okay. And I was like, she's so upset. What did you eat today?
Yeah.
And she was like, I mean, I just had like, it was just like spicy Cheetos or something, she said. And I was like, hot Cheetos. And I was like, girl.
There needs to be a guidebook of this. So like if you're a postpartum doula, are you also the lactation consultant too?
No, not always.
Okay.
For, to get that certification, I needed that certification along with to like pass to, get the whole certification. But, no, not always. Even though, every postpartum doula needs to at least know the basics.
Yeah.
Everybody, like, I know the basics and I know what to look for and things, but I'm not out here being like, I'm a lactation consultant.
Yeah.
It comes with
telling everyone that.
No, I mean, it comes with the territory, of course. Like, I know if there are certain things to look for, like, oh, that's not normal. That should not be happening. Let's help with that. Like, tips, tools, and trades, overnight care, absolutely would highly recommend, 9 out of 10. Then maybe not 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
But 9 out of 10, I will absolutely do it again.
So I mean, gosh, if we have another baby, I 100% want, I mean, you're not going to be here, but I can talk to you on the phone.
I travel. So I literally have friends that are about to move out of state, and I know that I'm about to leave, but it's like, Keisha, just know when it's time, you gotta be all right with and I'm like 100%. That's like my dream job, to travel as a doula.
Wow.
Like, I want to go everywhere.
That's awesome.
That literally has been like a dream of mine since like 20 something.
That's awesome.
Like, I've always wanted to travel with a family and just be hired one family at a time.
Yes.
Be devoted to live in if possible, while I'm transitioning back home, to be able to even get certified as a nanny, because some people just need help going on vacations or might as well. I'm out here somewhat kind of doing the same guidelines anyway, so why not? Aww. So I love I know that I love this type of work, so why not just do everything that I can to maximize that. So when I was in massage school 14 years ago, I was scared to touch pregnant people, and I was scared to touch cancer patients. I was scared to in some way be involved with old people. And it's funny because now I've literally, I don't work that much with geriatric clients, but cancer patients, I was about to take a position at St. Jude before I decided to move back home to Georgia. But, to be able to I never would have done that before.
What, were you fearful of hurting someone? Or?
Yeah, and I felt like I don't know, especially for pregnant women, I was like, what if I hurt the baby? You always hear, it's always this big old thing, oh, you have to wait, because it's unhealthy to massage in the first trimester.
Heck no.
I mean, I'll put a disclaimer out just because, liability, I guess, but that isn't really the reason why. Yeah. It's more so of liability. If you come to a spa while you're under, under 4 weeks or under 5, moving into the second month or whatever, and if something were to happen, they could come back and probably be liable if the person wasn't certified and didn't know what they were doing. There are certain things that you can't necessarily overwork. So I mean, I feel if your intention for the massage is going to be gentle, therapeutic, you doing something is not going to harm that baby. No. It just isn't. A lot of times things happen because the body was already in the process, and it just so happened that after whatever service that it happened. And a lot of times, especially in a pregnant woman and in a woman's body, things happen when the body is just ready to do so. So even when you have to, if something were to happen, a miscarriage or something, it takes time for that process. The doctors can confirm, yes, it happened, but you haven't experienced, or it hasn't shown up or manifested rather until a couple days or maybe a week or so later. It's going to happen. It just so happened to happen a week later type of thing. So unless it's intentionally trying to be done to harm something or to do something that you shouldn't do, it really you can get massage child the day after you conceived if you really there truly isn't any scientific proof of you being able to harm a baby. So I was just I don't want to harm anybody or have anybody blame me for doing something that their body probably was already in the process of doing, and then I just had no idea. But because the situation is what it is, it looks like it's a duck, so of course that is a duck, right? And she did that, and I'd be like, that really can't be done. But anyway, so I was fearful of harming someone. Right. And so it's just interesting now that, two of the populations that I was so fearful of have literally became one of my passions. Yeah. So it's
what
crazy.
You do, that's so funny.
It's so crazy. I used to be like, girl, you was so scared.
That's awesome.
I was scared. I was like, baby, I don't want to touch.
I would be scared too.
I was like, I don't want to mess nobody up.
I was worried for myself, but I mean, you obviously made me feel really comfortable, and you explained to me that there are things that you could do later in the pregnancy to maybe help maybe not start labor, but like help prepare your
people
body.
Love to say, I had a person once be like, do you do induction massages? And I'm like, I would never.
Is that a thing? That sounds like pelvic floor therapy.
Right. And I was like, I mean, I've never advertised it like that, but baby, listen, if you in that 38, 39, 41, 42 week of pregnancy, you like, I want to be done with this. Mm-hmm. You just overwork the heck of those like pressure points that you just avoid during that first trimester. So like there are like points in your legs, feet, ankles, traps that you can baby go to town with, wrists, fingers, and it stimulates the uterus. So those are the things that you like avoid. Make sure that you stimulate, especially if you want it. If I've had plenty of moms come to me, pregnant moms come to me and they're like, I'm past due. She should have been here last weekend. And I'm like, girl, come here. So just like stimulating those areas to like get that uterus start contracting, to start allowing the body to naturally do what it's supposed to do. Yeah. And of course, nothing's going to happen prematurely, until the body is ready. I could do somebody and I can baby work them ankles so good that I'm like, girl, tonight you should be having a baby. Yeah. And still don't come after a couple of days because the body wasn't ready to do so. Right, absolutely. And a lot of times I ask a lot of my pregnant clients, like, if this is what you want, are you dilated yet? Like your last checkup, what did they say? Are you, are your cervix thinned out a little bit? They're like, no, it hasn't even started. Like, girl, that baby ain't going nowhere no time soon. Yeah. So
you told me that.
We can get a massage today. But
I know. I was like 37 weeks and I was like, please get him out. Like, help me. You're like, if
nothing has already started in process, it's nothing that I can do to start that up. So like if your mucus plug has already come out and you've been dilated, but dilated at 1 or 2
that was me.
For like for a week or something.
It came out and then it formed again. Did you know they can do that?
No.
It formed again and then I lost it again. And so he kept tricking me. I'm like, get out of me, son. Like, please.
Did it partially?
It was probably partially.
Yeah.
It probably wasn't the whole thing. Yeah. But I was researching because it happened. And then I'm like, it happened after the massage or maybe even after a pelvic floor therapy.
I remember telling me. Yeah.
And then he didn't come. And I was like, what? And then it happened again. I was like, oh, now he's got to be coming, right? He still didn't come. I was like, oh. But everybody's body is different.
It is. But still, being able to be like, okay, girl, listen, you're not even 1 centimeter yet. Yeah. And so you ain't had no Braxton hit nothing. Yeah. Baby, ain't nothing happening.
I could talk to you for 5 more hours.
I mean, this has been really fun.
I know.
Thoroughly enjoyed this talk.
I know. I just want to say you're freaking amazing. You're so inspirational. You're following your dreams. You're making things happen for yourself. You are just someone that I definitely look up to, and I know a lot of people are going to, and probably already do. And you're just so I just feel like I just trust you so much. I don't know, what you do is what you're meant to do, and it's just so obvious. So I love you. You're awesome.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you came into my life for a reason, obviously. Seriously.
I feel like I look, and now that I'm about to leave, I always reflect on the relationships that I've had since being here. And I'm like, oh my God. 6 years later, I'm looking at people oh my God. It was a lot of times the relationships that I've cultivated since being here, I look back at how we met and it'd be the random stuff. And I'd be like, how in the world did we become friends? I know. But here we are. And listen, I was completely honored that you even asked me to do this. Of course.
I mean, you were one of the first people I thought about. I thought of 5 people, and you were one of those 5. And you're my second episode. But I'm so thankful that you came to do this. Absolutely. I'm glad we got to eat lunch and drink some coffee, some Cheesecake Factory coffee, which was freaking
baby, don't even
good.
Drink coffee.
What on earth?
I don't even drink coffee.
Does that not taste good?
I've taken at least 50 sips. I ain't mad at it.
I know. You're gonna feel really good.
Listen, and I'm not a caffeine person at all. That's why I'm trying to sip it.
Yeah, sip it. Be careful, because
woo. Listen, I ain't woo, but I'm trying not to be woo because I already know if I don't drink some water with this tonight, baby, it's gonna be 11 o'clock, and I'll be like,
I know that's probably gonna be me. But
Camilla did it.
I know, my bad, but. Seriously, thank you. I do have this little segment that I want to do.
Absolutely.
I haven't come up with a name for it yet, but it's just kind of random questions.
Yes.
Like kind of maybe something funny. Me. What is your biggest pet peeve?
As a doula or just like in general?
In general.
I hate when people stare at me in a massage.
That
is not
weird,
gaze
like,
into my eyes. Don't look at me.
I like fall
Don't look
asleep.
at the ceiling either. Like, that bothers me. When people aren't like relaxed or close their eye or having their eyes closed, like there's chaos going in my spirit. I'm just like, why are you not relaxed? Relax.
My question should have been, have you had people come in and ask for a happy ending?
Yes.
Wait, seriously?
Seriously.
Like a man?
I've been massage therapist. Yes.
What about a woman?
No.
Okay.
I've been massage therapist for 14 years, and you'd be surprised of the many things that I've experienced in a massage session. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. It still blows my mind to this day. I had a client in Savannah. This was probably maybe like year 4 or 5 after I had been working. I was downtown Savannah working, and like there was this guy that came in, and we normally didn't really like always accept walk-ins, but just so happened this night, you know, there was availability. Me and the other massage therapist were literally about to leave. You know, it's the end of the day. It was 30 minutes until like, well, an hour till closing, but he wanted a 30-minute, you know, massage. So, you know, of course we can, you know, accommodate you. So then he comes upstairs and he wants to choose the massage therapist of his, you know, for his service. And so he like looks at the two of us and kind of like, I want her.
That's uncomfortable. You can't do that.
Girl, kind of like, I don't want that one. I want this one. And so I'm just like, bruh, you got 30 minutes. Get on the table. I was about to go. Yeah. Actually. Yeah. So let me relight these candles that I just blew out and come up in here so I can go home. It's the end of the day. So, you know, after his massage session, he's kind of like, you know, how many more minutes do I have left? And I'm like, we done. He was like, oh, well. And he, you know, he had an accent. I'm going to throw up. Oh, my God. He had an accent, so he wasn't American. Okay. He was from another country. Okay. And so, you know, in their custom, you know, that is very much accepted, you know, happy endings. And, you know, that's why he chose the person that he wanted to do the service, because he wanted to choose who was going to do what he wanted to do. And so he was like, you know, do you do extra? And I said, I mean, for one, I was younger, and so a lot of things that didn't necessarily click the time that it should have clicked. Yeah. And so, like, he's like, you know, how much time do I have left? And I'm like, none. He's like, how much for extra? And I'm like, extra on what? And so, you know, he's like, you know, happy ending. And I'm just like, I was like, sir, I am offended. Good. And I mean, you know, I'm dramatic.
Did you like run out?
Not run out, but I was like, it's over. You should get dressed immediately.
Did you tell the boss?
Yeah, so I went downstairs and, you know, let the front desk know. And she was like, you know, she came back later. I was just like, oh, my God, are you okay? And it was a 30 minutes. So the other massage therapist stayed up there during the session so we can walk to, I mean, it's downtown Savannah. It's very touristy. You're liable to get anybody on your table, honestly. Yeah. And so it didn't shock me per se, but I was there definitely like stunned, like, wow. Like people... I mean,
I would have been so uncomfortable.
There are other countries that like that's a thing. Granted, it's very, very so much illegal. Oh, girl, I just be like, why me? Why me?
He wanted you, Keisha. Girl, he saw you and was like, look at those hands.
I want that chocolate thing right there. Girl.
I freaking love you. You're amazing. Like, I've already learned so much from you. I'll always learn something from you. You give the best advice, and you're just so comfortable to open up to. And, like, I can relate to you, even though, like, you aren't a mom yet. But, yeah. But, like, you feel like you can relate to me because you're so dang good at your job. And you're so passionate about it, and you just love so hard, and you're intuitive. And thank you for doing this. Oh, this is so exciting.
When I say it has been an absolute pleasure, like I was like, oh my gosh, when you asked me, I was so happy. And I was like, yay. Of course I will. Yay. Listen, it's been beautiful. I wouldn't actually mind doing this again before I leave.
Yeah, heck yeah.
This was fun.
I want to do it again for sure. Yes. I love you. And peace out.
Bye.
Bye.
this one's for the mothers. You gotta love the mothers. And you gotta hug the ones who bring us joy and love. It's the middle with the moms, zillas, it's your day. I said now this one's for the mothers. You gotta love the mothers. And you gotta hug the ones who bring us joy and love. It's the middle with the moms, zillas, it's your day.